One of the greatest games the New York Knicks have played in the last 25 years. So much so that we're doing an emergency radio roulette to discuss what just transpired in Boston. I just fired up this stream without having anything ready to go, so you're going to have to give me a couple of minutes. We'll be back right after this. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Many would consider you sickos. I consider you a locust.
Let me Super Saiyan charge up for this one. It's playoff season, alright?
I just got yelled at by a neighbor.
The return of Game 6 Clay!
You're gonna be sitting over there taking pictures like this. When you make ball wife, this is what happens.
We are the New York Knicks. 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 Say go New York, go New York, go. Go New York, go New York, go. Say go New York, go New York, go. Go New York, go New York, go. We're back on track on the floor, scoring more is 94, and the Knicks are hardcore. And I'll tell you like this, we ain't never looked sharper. With Hubert, Bonner, Gray, and Harper, it's the Knicks, and we're back on pace. Everyone's gearing up for the championship race, and the fans are going crazy, and they're doing it for a reason. Cause 94 is the Knickerbocker season. You better believe the Knicks got all that it takes. We're shooting three-pointers, and we're running fast breaks. And if your defense makes a mistake, then bam, Ewing dunks in your face. This is a team you don't wanna miss. We are New York. We are the New York Knicks. Go New York, go New York, go. Go New York, go New York, go. Say go New York, go New York, go. Go New York, go New York, go. Say go New York, go New York, go. Go New York, go New York, go. Say yo, bust it, or you hear.
And now, please welcome the 1994 Eastern Conference champion, your New York Knicks. At guard at 6'5" from Oklahoma State, number 3, John Starks. At guard at 6'4" from Illinois, number 11, Derek Harper. At forward at 6'10" from Pittsburgh, number 54, Charles Smith. At forward at 6'9" from Virginia Union, number 34, co-captain Charles Oakley. And at center at 7 feet from Georgetown, number 33, co-captain Patrick Ewing. The head trainer is Mike Saunders, the assistant trainer Tim Walsh, assistant coaches Dick Harder and Chip Van Gundy, and the head coach of the Knicks, Pat Riley.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. wherever it is in the world that you may be. Can sleep when we're dead, but for now, we talk Knicks. That's right, Knicks. Whether it's your first time here, your last, or somewhere in between, I hope you know you can always find a home here. 8:12 p.m. Pacific Time, West Coast of the United States. And we have just witnessed let's think here. Double overtime, RJ Barrett game winner. The Bing Bong game. Game 2, Madison Square Garden. Hawks Knicks after COVID. Carmelo Anthony sets the Garden record, I think, against the Bobcats that night. Just going through games, regular season games or beginning of the playoffs games that I could even put into the same realm of what we have just witnessed in Boston. So much so that had to do an own show on it. Why don't we do this? Before I start putting this, what this means to Knicks fans, what this means to the team, the direction, potentially the future. I'd love to get the highlights of this game on. Here we go. Bear with me for a second here, people. I'm going to do this just to... I'm going to try and position myself. I'm seeing questions in the comments about 2020 Knicks, 2013 Knicks, anything else that you are. Alec Burks. Into culture that surrounds Manhattan and the entire New York City metropolitan area. Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving during that first runaround when they were free agents and the Knicks were clearing space to go get those guys. Because that would have, in theory, at the time, it made you think that the Knicks were going to be put in a position. The Knicks were going to be put in a position to win a title. And that's the end goal, isn't it? But if you can't score in an unrestricted free agency and you can't put together a super team, the Knicks have built their name and their brand off of this exact team that they have finally built that has taken 25 years. They've had the mentality, okay? They've had the mentality. They've had it in theory. But by putting out a bunch of veteran dudes on 1-2-year deals. Remember that year they had 4 power forwards that they spent all their cap space on? Like, the team actually performed somewhat decent, but there was no light at the end of the Lincoln Tunnel. At last, with all of the draft assets that they've built, that they have hit, in a way, their own version of a lottery by getting Quentin Grimes, by getting Immanuel Quickley, by getting Mitchell Robinson at the end of the first round, end of the second round. They have built this team the way that, honestly, look at the previous dynasties in NBA history, the Warriors and the Spurs. They built those teams through the draft. And I'm not sitting here telling you the Knicks are the next Warriors or Spurs, but it took them 20, 30 years to replicate the blueprint and to see it formulating into reality. And it's not just potential, or it's not just off-season transactions. Is why I am this proud of this team now. From top to bottom. Because usually there's always something, whether it's ownership, whether it is the general manager, the president, Phil Jackson, Perry, Mills, you name it. There was always that one thorn in their side that prevented them from getting onto this path. Proud, just to finally at last get a victory of this magnitude in this fashion. We have lost this exact game what feels like 100 times in the last 2 years. You see Julius Randle just standing at the free throw line, up by 1 in overtime, with 30 seconds left. I see a deer in headlights. I see someone that is having flashbacks to the 10, 15 free throws that he has missed since he became a New York Knick that ultimately resulted in doom. For him to get through that, for this Knicks team to win without Jalen Brunson, for this Knicks team to be showing a physical form of toxicity with their body language, that would have crumpled every team in the NBA, especially themselves, 10 times over. For RJ Barrett to step in when the dude has been struggling with his outside shot and replace what Jalen Brunson brings from a creativity and offensive creation standpoint. For the Knicks to blow that lead at the end of the fourth quarter. To force a double overtime after being down in overtime, in the first overtime. For them to close against a team with Al Horford that could not miss. To play perfect defense multiple times and bust their ass trying to get a rebound, but sometimes a third and fourth chance opportunity that led to that 3 and that little 7-0 run that they got at the end of the fourth. That was not from a lack of hustle. That was simply a situation and felt like the Celtics were creating their own luck. You got Mitchell Robinson staying there at home. Here's a great example of it. And you see how Mitchell Robinson's caught between Al Horford. He wants to run over there. Did you see that play with Jason Tatum going right to the rim unabated? You're like, where's the defense? Well, every time that Mitchell Robinson collapsed on top of Tatum, they hit Horford in the corner, and he didn't miss what felt like fucking once tonight. Pushing on Immanuel Quickley's face that you see right there. These that they play per season and lose. Anthony J.R. Smith team that's put together for like what feels like a 3-month run rental. That the foundation of this franchise feels sturdy enough now for the first time in 25 years. But what you have now is, I was just describing how the Knicks don't play their veterans anymore. These young guys are becoming veterans expeditiously. They're becoming veterans because they have no other choice to. 3, he faded Matt Jones. People act like you can't have fun watching if your team doesn't win a title. Just try rooting for the Knicks for one night, and you'll see exactly what we are talking to. I want you to remember how many of those didn't drop in the same exact moments, and all of a sudden now, war will be one of those 29. And when that day comes, that they get eliminated, it's gonna be moments like tonight.
It's crazy. I'm 25 years old. This is the best Knicks team I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, I'd probably say in terms of type of energy, they leave their blood on the floor for you, but it's one possession short. Why is it they can never get over the hump, right? Hey, for the first 3-4 months of this season, they lost every single game that was played against a team of this quality in the same exact fashion. But now all of a sudden, they are equating into victories. And I really I think we can attribute to that being a result of them just being through the grind so many damn times. And Zach, thanks for the call, my friend. I know in 2013, the Knicks were the 2 seed. They had 50-something wins. But the way that the NBA was so top-heavy that year and all of the middle and lower teams in the league, you knew the Pacers and the Heat were better in their conference. To do a Knicks-only show, to have a reason to do a Knicks-only show. Yep, what's good?
Yo, Rob, I'm losing my fucking mind, man. I'm losing my mind. Yo, I don't know this team, man. This is the greatest team I've ever seen, yo. I'm only 28, so like the last call, I'm only a couple years older than him, but yo, man, I don't know. For so many years, man, I turn the fucking games off by halftime. I'm already off, man. I'm already off the shit. But this team is, yo, I don't know, man. This is like unbelievable. This is what it feels like to have a good team. And I don't think so many people take it for granted, yo. Like if you're a Celtics fan, by the way, I mean I'm still on that 90s shit. Fuck Boston, fuck Miami, fuck the Bulls. Like, I don't rock with none of them. But so many of these fans take it for granted that they have a good team every single year, and their franchise can just churn out good teams constantly. And I'm just telling y'all, man, as Knicks fans, man, y'all really gotta live in the moment and appreciate it, man. Like you said, we ain't going to the finals, but you really just gotta appreciate the team for what it is, man. And for all of you out there that root for teams that constantly churn out good teams, you really gotta start appreciating it, man, because this shit is not easy, and it's not easy to win in the NBA. But yeah, it's crazy, man.
So
I wanted to say one thing about the game that just has me a little bit worried is, I'm watching the game, and I know you want to give the ball to your best player, right? You want to give the ball to your best player to ice the game. But it was like, I'm sitting here watching the TV. I know Tom Thibodeau knows more basketball than I could if I lived 100 lifetimes, yo. But they're sending the double late to Randall every single possession, and you keep giving him the ball. Like what is up with that? I don't understand that.
So what was Julius Randle? I mean, let's not forget right before that, he hit the impossible fadeaway from the corner. He hit the step back. It's Immanuel Quickley. That's Josh Hart. There's no one out there that you can just leave alone because Mitchell Robinson is the one dude standing inside the paint. So we go into the half-court set, and there's that many seconds left on the clock. We're asked how many times, not just with the Knicks, just in general, do we do a show that the first call we get is, why did we just settle for that shot at the end of the fourth? Why couldn't we get a better look? And it's because the defense is that good. In this case, we know the Celtics defense is one of the best in the league, but they know exactly what's coming. What exactly do you try and make happen with 5-6 seconds left? There's only one Golden State Warriors out there that is going to be able to pass the ball around without it touching the floor. Whether it's the correct strategy or not, as Jish alluded to the other night, as I always repeat, the playoff basketball of which this game qualified for tonight is a different sport. And you need stars that can take the ball and go 1-on-2 and get you a bucket. That's why those players always win the championship. It's just the way the game works sometimes. That you're trying to run horns. Did you hear how many times JJ Redick during the broadcast was referring to the Boston Celtics were trying to run horns at the end of the fourth quarter and the end of overtime? And Tatum had to call a timeout the second time he didn't get it because, first of all, the crowd is so loud that you can't communicate the play. And if your hand signals don't work, Rasheed Wallace talked about this on our show earlier this week. When you're playing in arenas, home or away, of this magnitude, you can't hear anything from your own teammates, let alone your coach. So you rely on the hand signals that you have to work on before the game that week. So Horns fails twice for the Celtics. Then you have Jason Tatum standing out there, guess what? Dribbling around. The clock goes 10, 9, 8. And lucky enough for them, they had a timeout in their pocket so that they can call a timeout, set up something. But the Knicks didn't. And when a play goes to shit and you have 5 seconds left, there's no more come up and let's run horns. You guys know what horns is? It's essentially when the two pick and rolls come up above the 3-point line at the same time, and then they hard roll off each other. Someone's got to find a way to get Tamir into this damn show. I can see in the comments you guys are trying to get at him and tell him I'm waiting for him to get into this program. Let's keep going. Next up is going to be, Z Morrow dropped. We'll go over to Z Martin. The answer to your question, beet soup, is sometimes
Yep.
you just need a star to go make a play. Z Martin, what's good?
I was just gonna see if you seen any similarities between this Knicks team and the Heat team that went to the finals in the bubble. Just based off like the each quarter seems like just a dogfight from start to end, and that's kind of how that Heat team was. I feel like in the finals that made it all the way to the finals.
That's a good comparison. Yeah, listen, if the Knicks go anywhere in the playoffs, it's going to be because they won 4 out of 7 games with a score differential of 3 points or less. They're not good enough to hold leads. Shit, they just had a 7-point lead with a minute left in this game that people were getting up, headed to the aisles, and the Knicks can't hold leads because they just don't have the star power to continue to hit tough shot after tough shot to put you away. They got guys that are worthy of the conversation, but not one of those next level echelon players. The Heat team that you're referring to was pretty why the Jimmy Butler meme exists. Do you remember that particular game, how many shots Jimmy Butler had to hit to just get to the free throw line for a chance to win it? It felt like 15, all right? 15, 1-on-2. The whole world knows you're going to shoot at shots, and you have to make them. You can't miss. Otherwise, that leads to defensive rebounds, leak outs, and a better team will score on you. A more talented team will score on you. And you get guys tonight like Julius Randle or Immanuel Quickley or RJ Barrett, who are certainly not in the same echelon as Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, nor do they have the playoff experience in these types of situations and getting to the rim or even creating contact to get to the free throw line. Yet they were still going punch for punch with those guys. I mean, yeah, whether it was even the Heat team last year that forced the Game 7, that horrendous Heat team. It's putting out Max Strus because half their guys got benched, Tyler Hero and Bam, and it was all up to Jimmy and Strus to carry them. You know, how are we losing games? How is this game even close? And when you have a unit like that has this chemistry, that has the camaraderie, to continue the war analogy, that has been in those foxholes together, it sure as hell seems like it pays dividends, doesn't it? And the sweat equity that you gain from winning these games, and even if you don't win, just from experiencing them. When you get put in these situations in the future, I would like to remind everyone that this is why you don't want to play the Knicks. They have invented every possible way to lose a game. And as a result, they are very clearly learning from it and evolving. That's the scariest part. Thanks for the call, Z. Next up, going over to K Dizzle. Clippers down by 13 to a Ja Morant, Dylan Brooks-less Grizzlies team. Steven Adams-less. Who's even on the floor for these guys? You're losing to Xavier Tillman. K Dizzle, what's good? Take a couple more calls, and then we'll watch the fourth quarter. This is meant to be Knicks only. Try and get as many Knicks people in here as possible. Just unmute yourself, Kevin. Should be a little red button next to your... No Brandon Clark, God. K Dizzle, there you go.
I'm back. Can you hear me?
I can.
Yes, sir. Oh man, thanks, Bob. Thanks for taking my call. I appreciate it. I'm still wound up, man. It's an hour later or something like that after this game, and I'm like waiting for the next play. That's how dramatic that was. I've been a fan since 1994, 1992. Went to the Garden at like 5 years old in 1986 with my dad. Still remember those games, and you said it best, man. I'm so proud of this team. Just the way they play, the way they're built. They're like a family, and it's so different watching this team compared to those teams that were slapped together in the mid 2010s that were fun, right? But this is something different. If we have a lot of we have free agents, but it feels homegrown. Josh Hart's not from there. Julius Randle was picked up.
somewhere else, and so is Jalen. But they all feel like New York Knickerbockers, and they're all young. So our ceiling is still, unachieved, and I'm just so proud of this team, man. I'm just hopeful, and whatever happens this year, I'm not sad. Obviously, I want a miracle to happen. I want to win every game of the playoffs once we get in there, and I'm going to be devastated when we lose. But I'm so hopeful. I'm just so hopeful.
Can you, as one of the few people that is old enough to have experienced the 94 Knicks, the 99 Knicks, and then everything in between, can you do your best to articulate why it feels like we have extreme recency bias? Like, why are we treating this as if we should be clearing the Canyon of Heroes in Lower Manhattan to throw a parade? I try my best to articulate that reason, but I'm curious as to Knicks fans that have been around as long as I have to educate the younger audience as to why games like this in a regular season matter.
It's hunger, man. We're just so hungry for something to root for. And the difference is this team, like I said, is young. And we know this isn't going to be barring some major injury, some flash in the pan squad, that the sky is, dare I say, the limit with this team. We have assets. We have talent. We don't need to pick anybody up. We could just keep playing, right? And if we do pick somebody up, that's great. Fantastic, but I trust Leon Rose. I can't believe I'm saying that, but I trust Leon Rose to make the right moves this offseason. And this team, we just so hungry for a squad. That's why we love this team right now. That's why this team, every win feels like a playoff win this year. I mean, seriously, from game one, every win's felt like a playoff win, and it's just because we just want something to root for, man. And I have no other way to put it. We're just hungry for a team that wants to win and wants to win in New York. And all these guys are repping New York. So we love that feeling. We love that they're playing for us. You could feel it. When Josh Hart's out there and making the technical foul sign and kicking Jason Tatum out of the game, God damn, that feels good, man. You know what I mean? He's playing for us. So it's just something different. There's something magical about this team. I love them.
Okay, Dizzle. Appreciate the call. Appreciate the thoughts. And I think a lot of this, again, you're going to be hearing this theme as to the remainder of this 2023 campaign. That Knicks basketball, kind of similar to Mets baseball, has always been, oh my God, the Grizzlies are just pouring it on. Knicks basketball has always been you can't say little brother the way that the Mets were little brothers to the Yankees, but the Mets had always, until their new owner just joined, they had always been we got guys that came up through the farm system, became true Mets. And you get attached to them because they feel like Mets. The same way that Daniel Radcliffe is always going to be known as Harry Potter. No matter what he does, the Mets have Mets players in the same way. And the Knicks have Knicks players. Starks, Oakley, Ewing, Mason, McDaniel, Walt Clyde, Melo. There's a lot of guys that I can just name. They're like, damn, that's a Knick. That is a New York Knick. The way that they play is not... What is a New York Knick? Not the best player on the floor. Thinks they are. Certainly tries to be. And it feels like he would rather die than have to listen to someone convince him otherwise. Go over to WBB. Take a couple more calls. For the record, I canceled a date to do this stream. Canceled the date to do this stream and watch of course, I wasn't leaving a double overtime game like that to go on a date. So the game itself, but had already postponed it, but still. Just got to deal with it. Yeah. What's good?
Yeah, man. I I just want to call in. I'm actually from North Carolina, so I wouldn't say I'm a super diehard, but I did pick up as a Knicks fan with that '99 team with LJ, and Melo's probably my favorite player ever. So I've been stuck with the Knicks through those rough patches, and I could definitely say this is probably the most exciting team I've seen since I've been watching them consistently. But I wanted to just put this on the table, and everybody can chime in on it. What do you guys really feel like the rest of the team feels like about RJ? Because sometimes I feel like Randall looks him off a lot, especially like tonight when they did that double team at the end of the game. He was wide open. So do you think he's going to be around long term, or is like the struggles he's been having the second half of the season ultimately, going to lead to management trying to replace him?
Well, the first thing is they just signed him to a 9-figure extension this past offseason. So he's going to play. And if you're going to try and move him and have him be anything but a liability, not saying RJ the player is not a liability, but if you consider the amount of money he's now going to be making for the next half decade, all of a sudden the bar for what he has to clear to be quote unquote worth it is significantly higher than it was during his rookie deal, because he's taken up less of the damn salary cap. So for him to go out there, I agree. It's getting to the point that you're not leaving him open like he's Russell Westbrook, or we've seen some of these teams just completely not guard, or Draymond Green, Ben Simmons. RJ Barrett's not going to be treated like that, but his outside jump shot is so unreliable that at the very least, you're seeing teams go under either on-ball screens, off-ball screens. If RJ wants to run to the opposite corner, I'll stand here in the paint and I'll give him a slight contest. But his right now, as we always know, you look at some of these shot charts, it's red X's all around the perimeter with RJ, and it's green circles in the paint, because tonight he hit a couple of Euro steps, man, that were beautiful, and getting to the paint. That's where he's always at his best, is slashing, standing in the dunker spot. He can finish. He's a strong finisher. Those are all positives, but if Jalen Brunson's not out there and he has to step up and replace what Brunson brings to the table, that requires the ability to pull defenses out of the paint to create space for other players. That's what Jalen does so well. That's why he's killing it. That's why he's worth every penny and more that he's being currently compensated at. RJ, his role tonight was to go in there and do that. And while, he missed a lot of open shots like usual, I thought he did a above satisfactory job in putting on his Jalen Brunson cape and against what is arguably the league's toughest defense when fully assembled. They didn't have Robert Williams tonight, but I understand that. But RJ, I don't know if his talent level right now is high enough to just be able to flip a switch or say, you know what, I'm gonna live on this 3-point line tonight and just bury every three. There's only so many guys in the league that have that ability. But RJ knows what he does best. And when the team is whole, it allows RJ to do what he does best. Why I'm so proud and so happy is that despite that main cornerstone not being there and RJ still not being great, he was decent, he was good, and they still win anyway. That never happens. That never, ever happens with the Knicks. And that's why tonight is so much different than any win before it this season. Even if the RJ Barrett buzzer beater banker, the double overtime game against the Celtics from a year ago, it doesn't feel the same as tonight, because this is a culmination of one's work, or when I say one team's work that they have grinded out for it to finally get acquired and finally get their payday. That's the difference.
They definitely turned the corner, man. It's good to see, for sure.
WBB, appreciate you taking the time to call in here, my friend. On that note, we keep this one short tonight. We're about an hour in. I just wanted to give some extended thoughts on the Knicks, as I know I like to do my 2 minutes and 20-second video at the end of the program, or end of the game. Sorry, I'm trying to X out of this. But I felt like it needed more nuance than that. And if you watch this stream either live or on replay, hopefully you can appreciate now by hearing from a couple of fans, as well as myself, why tonight's win is different than anything that we've seen in the last 25 years. Till next time, my friends, this emergency reaction to the New York Knicks victory in Boston is complete. Fourth quarter in Los Angeles. I'll see you all in the timeline.